isn't it? Just about. But just remember everything's safe now. Everything. Okay, Camilla, are we all good at your end? Good. Can we get rid of that, James? Paula, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear us? Thank you. We're just getting rid of something. I can see other names. Pat, can you hear us? A thumbs up. Pat, hey, can you hear us? Put your thumb up. All good. Cheers. John Bothwell, can you hear us? All good. So Rachel, you can hear us. Yep. Thank you. And yeah. Jackie, and Jackie, you can hear us. Good. And Tanisha and Roger, we can't see you pictures, but we assume you can hear us. So if you can't, wait. Okay, so what we're going to do during the meeting, just a couple of little bits of housekeeping for public forum. When it's your turn to speak, we'll open up the mic so you can hear us if you want to speak. And if you want to speak in public forum, you give us a wave on your screen. Jackie, you know how to do that? Because I know you're down for speaking. Yep. So either a wave in the air or a wave, a little hand signal thing you push on your Zoom for those who are technologically advanced. So, but anyway, welcome to the Katikati Community Board meeting K21-5 on the 10th of November, 7 o'clock. It's the first one we've ever done by Zoom from a few other locations. So bear with us. Everything that's being said tonight's meeting is being digitally or recorded. So unlike minutes taken in normal meetings, everything's been recorded. So just be wary of that. You'll figure out how many times to say when you talk like I do. So currently present, we have myself, Ben Warren, Community Board Member Neil Harray, Kate Sutherland, John Clements, Councillor Alan Sole and Councillor James Denyer. From Attendance and Council, we have Rachel Davey, Group Manager of Policy, Planning and Regulatory Services, Ashley Hall, Voting Engineer, Janisha Osborne, Governance, and Pernell Osborne, Senior Governance. So if we're happy with that, I'll declare the meeting open. And do we have any apologies? At the moment, I don't think we do. So I'll move that no apologies be received. Yeah. And seconder, okay. Thank you. All those in favour say aye. Aye, or wave your hand. Consideration of late items. Any late items, anyone? All right, so we'll move it. There's no late items. Second that. Thanks, James. All right, everyone. Over. Declarations of interest. Just remind members that if they have any conflicts of interest with any items, or these are things to make the rest of the board aware of that. So are there any?
Mr. Chair, 9.3, I need to declare a conflict of interest. That's 33 Middlebrook Drive.
Yeah, received. Okay, so we've got that recorded. No other declarations of conflicts of interest? No. Publicly excluded items are nil. So we'll basically be moving into public forum. So, and I've only got one person to speak in public forum so far tonight. That's Jackie. Was there anyone else that wanted to speak? Paula? Keith? Okay, so we'll just go. We'll go in that order. So we'll move into public forum. Second that. Thank you, Neil. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Okay, Jackie, would you like to go? And someone can unmute you. Unmute you. I mean.
Yep. Thank you very much. I wanted to specifically book a spot so that we could talk about the avocado capital of New Zealand, but I see that that's coming up later in the agenda, so that's all good. I just wanted to follow up on one thing from the last public forum that I spoken about, having some shower facilities installed into Katikati. I couldn't see anything in the agenda that referred to, or in the minutes that referred to that. Is there any process on that happening?
It was brought up. Yes. Yeah. I haven't heard of any progress, Jackie, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, public toilets planned for Moore Park. We'll have a shower in one of the disabled ones in the planning, but there hasn't been anything brought up for the ones in town. So we'll maybe take that up with infrastructure. I suppose it'll become under reserves, parks and reserves, because there'll be a facility on the toilet space. No?
Okay,
I'll find out for you. I'll find out.
Yeah.
For you.
I think there is quite a good need for it. So I would like, if it's going to happen at Moore Park, then that's all good.
Problem is that a long time away, but yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll find out, see if there's been any talk to council or James or Alan or when they're in there next.
Jackie, do you have any suggestions?
Well, I suggested at the last community board meeting that it would be one of the toilets by the playground by the Arts Junction and Museum. Take one of those out to be a shower facility and the other one still remain as a toilet. So yeah, that's just where that was at. And when we get to the agenda item about the avocado capital, I don't know if I have an opportunity to speak then or...
Maybe just speak now, Jackie, it'll be easier if you're going to say what you'd like to say and think about it, maybe talk about more things.
Okay, well, we've had a meeting this week, and there's the partnership between Catch Katikati Open Air Art and Katikati Rotary. So Katikati Rotary are very keen to make this a project that they can take on under with their involvement in their 50-year anniversary. So between the three organisations, we're really keen to work together to implement more things orientated around the avocado capital and open air art, specifically with the art side of installations, the giant avocado, the seats, to oversee that side of it. Rotary is perhaps the fund holder with their charitable status, and then Catch Katikati with any events or other activities that are circulated around that. So that's just sort of where we came to. We're going to document a memorandum of understanding between the three organisations to sort of formalise that agreement. So yeah, whether we need to then include community board or council, I don't know. We're open to look at how that works, but yeah, we're really keen to progress. On the 13th of December, we're going to have a community and industry meeting to sort of launch the idea a bit more and look for funders to support it. So we're all go between the three organisations. It's a very positive feeling.
Very good.
Yeah, so that's it from me.
That sounds very good, Jackie.
Jackie, just to comment, in fact, last night Open Air Arts for a good area as well, and they're also support. So I was at their meeting last night.
Well, good. Well, thank you, Jackie. We'll move now to Paul. Wait, Paul, you're still on mute.
Are you talking to me?
Janisha, can we unmute?
Can you hear? Yeah.
There you
Now we got you.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the cherry trees and the parking down behind the shops and the museum. And I've raised this before at community board that we could fit a whole lot of more car parks along there. Those cherry trees, they are a nightmare. They've got berries on at the moment, and the berries stay on your car. They don't even come off when you drive home. And the poo that is on the car, we have to go home and wash our car that night because it will just wreck your car paint. And last time when I suggested the cheap option of taking the trees out, putting half rounds down that are painted white, it came back that that was a trip hazard. The roots that are there and the stumps from the 14 trees that they cut down to give more car parking space a couple of years ago, they are more trip hazards than a half round would be any day. And we would honestly, I'm sure, get between 8 to 10 additional car parks down the back there without much cost. And so can someone have a discussion around that? It'd be really good for our summer trade for people to be able to park. I would like to inquire or speak to the Middlebrook Project? Do you want me to speak now about it or when you bring?
Yes, go now, that's fine.
Beg your pardon?
Yes, now it'll be great, that's all, yeah.
Look, it has been going on for a long time, and just to go over how this process, how we see it working, is the first step is to get this formalised with the use of land and council. From there, we will need to have a feasibility study and report done on the whole complex. And then from there, we would have to get plans and building consents, and that would clearly outline compliancy to meet the district plan schedules and standards. And so from you, we understand it that the community board have to formalise this, and then it goes to Western Bay District Council. Can someone just sort of update us on where we're at officially, please?
So the last point on that was the last time we were waiting on, well, it was interest registered by.
You see a in shed.
The Maori Health Centre, was it?
The route by
Runanga.
Yeah, by the Runanga. And since Chris has left there, it's my understanding that they have withdrawn their interest in the project.
Yes, and Mike Williams brought that up
Yeah.
to the community board when we met, that they were totally out of it.
Because what had happened was we approved the original project as a community, we supported that for the
Yes.
groups that were in there. Then
Yes.
Expressed an interest at a later date. Then it went, and then council sat on it and waited to see what was happening. Since then, Runanga has withdrawn their interest in that project. So really, where we see it is we still support the project as was originally put to us, so that nothing has changed as far as we agree with the community board that we supported, the groups that wanted to be involved there as was put forward to us. So we can move that again, but I'm pretty sure that was moved in the previous instance.
No, a resolution.
There's
The
a resolution
resolution this
later.
time.
I also think we let it on the table last time because
Chair.
the Runanga came in and we weren't sure what their involvement was. So we didn't resolve to approve it.
Okay.
That's my recollection. Anyway.
Okay, so there is a resolution in there now.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a resolution.
So we have a resolution in now just to provide our community support then. So,
Right. Thank you very much.
Still here tonight.
and it has taken a bit of time, but like everything else in the last 5 months, I apologise, but.
No worries.
Sorry at the moment. So anyone got anything else to ask? Or
Well, I was just going to mention about the back of the shops and Paul's comment there. I think that might be something to include in the town centre plan.
Yeah.
I mean, there's separate issues there. There's the trees and the damage that they do to your car, and that could be a relatively simple solution. In terms of car parking and how that's organised, I guess that's something for Ashley to advise, but you probably wouldn't put half rounds per parallel to the car. You didn't put wheel stops at the end, and then they're not so much a trip hazard.
Yeah. But
we can work through that with the town centre.
yeah, I mean, we can look at that, Paula, and Ashley and depending if the trees are on the reserves part, that'll obviously talk to Peter Watson.
Why I suggested the half rounds, James, I understand what you're saying, but if two people go in randomly, we can instantly lose a car space because they're not marked.
Yeah.
And so,
People, if
yeah,
they're taken out, they can just mark them and put a
exactly.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
we'll let Ashley just answer this if he can. So
Yep, sure. So the last board actually resolved to remove there was a whole bunch of real sad looking cherry trees and miscellany down that end of Kotahi Lane. The board resolved to remove the sad ones and leave the ones that were thriving, and that's what we're left with at the moment. I understood that, and apologies, I haven't been down there for a wee while, but the root balls had been removed, so I'm a bit surprised to hear that there's still stumps and root balls. That's reasonably easily resolved. I can organise that. Now, when I got the sad-looking trees removed, I actually did a bit of a door knock around the local shops and spoke with, sorry, I can't remember her name, Miss Bingham from Kotahi of Cherry Court. And it seemed to be a real 50-50 split amongst the Katikati community about who wanted to keep the trees and who wanted to have them removed. So I was a bit surprised. Now, a lot of people would say, yes, remove the trees because they're inhibiting car parking. And the other half would say, well, birds sit in trees and they poop, and that's just what birds and trees happens around, and the blossom fall and so on and so forth. So it just seemed reasonably natural that a bird would sit in a tree and poop. So there's nothing surprising there. We can look at doing, as James suggested, putting wheel stops in so the cars would align with the wheel stops. The issue with the half rounds dividing car spots wasn't so much a trip hazard, but more of a slip hazard. The pine gets very slippery, particularly when it's wet. If somebody was to step on it, particularly in heels or so on and so forth, they'll be very prone to slipping. I'd be in favour of adding the wheel stops rather than the half rounds dividing each slot. I'd leave it to the board if they chose to remove those cherry trees or not to enhance parking. I'd also would add the very top of Kotahi Lane at the intersection with State Highway 2 is a massive underused car park. I appreciate it's potholed at the moment. I'm personally looking into that at the moment with HEB who are utilising it. I'll get that just off topic. I appreciate that, but get some more metal into those potholes this season. So yeah, if the board wish to pursue getting those cherry trees removed, I'll back their decision.
Ashley, just one comment there. I appreciate you went and asked the shop owners,
Yep.
but the shop owners, they all have allocated car parking spaces against those buildings. All the rest of us have to park over that other side. And so that, of course, and look, I totally appreciate the wildlife. I certainly do. But the shop owners have got no trees on their side. It's for the rest of us. That's all.
Well, I guess I would add to that it's your choice whether to park there or in Kotahi Lane. Or
So
I understand.
So we'll just go have a look at it, Paula, and make a community board. So I think we'll have a look and see what.
Yeah, because Mr. Chairman, one of the things was asked for was to try to have it done before Christmas.
Yeah.
The summer track, and I'm not sure. Trees, as we already know, are a huge issue. So I just want to clarify whether we would be able to give a clear indication to actually what can be done, or do we have to actually put it through as a recommendation from us?
You are unable to make resolutions on public forum items.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Be held up is what I'm getting at. So I'm not sure what's needed to, if the board was in favour of doing it or not, is what is the process if the attempt is to, or the intention is to do it before Christmas? Are we able to give a clear indication for Ashley? Is that sufficient for you to do it, Ashley?
Actually, I want to draw your attention to another issue, and that is the boundary of Cherry Court, which is private, and how that is aligned. I don't have the information in front of me at the moment, but I do recall the boundary with Cherry Court, which is private property, is a real strange alignment. I would have to look into it, and I would then suggest that we would approach Mrs. Bingham again to ask or request if we could remove those cherry trees. It's not just as simple as getting them just removed.
Okay.
Yeah, again, some of them private property. And I'd also expect a significant backlash, so I would ask for the board's response because
Actually, just further down to go from there, and once we know that, we'll go from that simple. Okay.
So actually, I think just let's clarify, if we're in agreement, let's just assume that. Does it require a resolution of the committee, or do we have to wait? Or could we just contact you and ask you to do it?
Is the board prepared to fund those tree removal? I'm not seeing it as a maintenance item from my budget. Is it a eroding account item for the board?
All right, but besides the funding, can we what, if we said yes, do we have to wait for the next community board meeting, or can we actually contact you and say,
I'll refer that to Penilla.
Yeah, if you are funding it from your voting account, we need a formal resolution against it in order to do so.
So it's highly unlikely that it'll be achieved before summer this year. It's expectations of people that are asking and what we can deliver. Okay, and at present, I would say the simple answer to Paula is it's highly unlikely to happen before this summer period's ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please also understand that it is busy season for all the arboriculturalists and mowing staff. So to ask them now, 6 weeks out from Christmas, might absolutely be a push anyway.
Thanks, Scott Paul. We'll see what we can do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Keith, your turn.
hold on, Keith, wait, just wait.
Just a reminder that we don't have the ability to unmute people, so you will need to unmute yourself when you get called.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. At your last meeting, the board told council that you strongly object to the government's Three Waters proposal because it is not in the best interest of ratepayers or the community. Council's response was very disappointing. A number of councils are uniting to fight Three Waters reforms because of the way Minister Mahuta has mandated water reforms, after promising that councils would be able to opt in or opt out. We encourage the board to tell council they want them to join these other councils. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Anyone would like to?
Sorry?
I'll just ask if anyone would like to respond to what you've said, Keith, from the board. Okay, James, yep.
Yeah, this came up at council, and the view around the table was that it was a horrendous waste of ratepayer money to start lawsuits against the government, and there's better ways to spend our money. So,
Can we just put that in context out there? In the newspaper this morning, horrendous waste is $10,000, which is peanuts. So compared to what gets spent. So I think we need to just put this in context. That it's between 10 and 20,000, was John Cox talked about it in the newspaper this morning. So just so everyone knows, it's not horrendous. That's just sensational.
So I think, Keith, in regards to that, I mean, it's probably the best way to go about it is, I mean, obviously as a community board, we can talk about it, but I think lobbying our individual council members, we'll probably all talk to council members to get their support for that would be the best way to go ahead as well. I mean, as you know, community board, we can support something, but we don't have a standing vote on council. So that would, I mean, the best way would, as a community, we can talk to our two councillors here. But again, as a ratepayer and as a member of the public, I would suggest that for all those in support of that, please contact Alan and James to put your views forward as well. Because ideally, I mean, they're the elected council members for this area, so and they have a vote on council. So I think that would be probably the best way to go about it. Would you agree, James?
Keith, you have a specific request coming from the community board, and I think what we can do is discuss in committee as to our position.
Yeah. So as I said, Keith, we could do that. But thank you for your time. If you're happy, yep. Okay.
Thank you. And for Jackie, we've got a transportable building at Waihi Beach that's got toilets and showers in it that
Going cheap.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Right. So if there's no more speakers in public forum, I can't see any hands going up. Is that a hand waving there, Ross, or is that just a picture?
It's a picture.
Okay. Well, Ross is not wanting to speak. That's there's his head. Look at that. There you go. He's alive.
Just a picture.
Okay. Thank you, Ross. Okay, so I'll move that our public forum is closed. Seconded by Alan. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Thank you. Okay, and we'll reconvene into formal session. So you're welcome to stay listening, members of the public. Obviously, you won't be able to chat and join in, but you're welcome to listen to us for the next half an hour now. So we'll move to the previous minutes for confirmation. Has everyone read the previous minutes? Yep. Is there anything that needs correcting? Or?
Yes, it's just the under the roading area. The it wasn't that I was questioning the roading budget. It was that we had the submission for a digital for the Waikato University to look at traffic flows within Katikati. And that proposal was submitted and it's in the minutes. And that's what that was referring to. So the local road, it's not the local roading budget, it's just the local roading survey, digital survey. On page 9. And what I can do is say that in fact, Waikato University's come back here and they have found a research scholar, it won't cost us anything.
So do we need to change it in general?
Well, it's just the roading budget, it's misleading.
Okay.
I would otherwise only comment, Mr. Chair, that the item that Jackie referred to about the showers is in the minutes. So we probably need to follow it further, which we'll come.
Do you want us to change that, John, roading budget?
Yeah, just local roading research.
Just write that in there, Penella, and just call it local roading research. Yep.
And then the new
So that's all right. We just leave that. So if everyone's happy with that, yep, no problem with that. So move that's changed. No other issues with the previous minutes? No, I'll move there. Carried, passed. Thanks. Second, Alan. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll move on to the chairperson's report. Page 13. Okay, everyone's had a chance to read through it. Yeah. I won't individually go through everything, but a couple of just important items. The community plan is back. We've looked at it. It looks okay, and we're hopefully happy to circulate it. It hasn't already been circulated to the reference group.
it hasn't been circulated. We haven't received it.
Pardon?
We haven't received it. The one circulation.
There's some changes.
There's some message changes needed to be changed.
I emailed you a couple of weeks back.
I thought they changed. Okay. Nope, no.
Well, there was further.
Oh, okay, right.
I haven't seen it at all.
Sorry, I thought that. Okay. The last
I'm
one
not
I
sure.
thought
Not
was
sure
came
what,
back.
who's on the loops? I haven't seen it. The updates have not seen it. So I'm out of the loop.
We got one back that was.
Yep.
We put our changes to,
Yeah.
they came back 95% there. I just,
To whom? I haven't seen it.
Came
No, hold on. We're all in this together, guys. I have not seen it.
was the change. We said
And all of
three
the,
times.
no, but it should have come back into all of us, not to a select group. I have not seen it. And we haven't seen the action plan, but the major thing. So where the hell is it?
So the changes we agreed to was for them to come back. And that's what they sent back to us. Was that right?
They sent it back to you, not to me.
yeah, and I was assisted Ben in trying to get
Just checking
the
that they were
changes we
right.
wanted
Yeah.
done.
No other changes been made, John.
No.
So
We should all be seeing, we should all be seeing.
well,
the
we
same-
didn't want to waste the whole time, spending another month or two going through the stuff we've already changed. So we just went through the changes we'd asked them to check they'd been done. And that's what James assisted with, and to check that they'd done everything we'd asked for. And and I thought everything in fact, did you send or you said? So those changes had come back as we'd requested.
That's not acceptable.
Most
I
of them-
registered my, I
Oh, John, stop being childish about this, okay? We're just checking the changes, okay? Excuse
No
me.
ways.
If you're going to talk like that, you can leave the meeting. Okay?
You cannot just exclude people.
We're not excluding them. We were just checking the changes we'd already sent through. Okay? There wasn't anything additionally changed that we hadn't all agreed to. And through the whole process, when we change anything, it goes to everyone. Or we check that the changes that we'd asked Bopper to make had come back as we'd changed it. Is that not correct, James?
That's correct.
That is correct, okay? And that's what, that's why I thought there wouldn't be any more change to that date. James
You
said
should have had an update to what you want.
well, that's what we're basically where we're at now. Okay. So James, there's a couple of things they hadn't fixed up.
There was 5% stuff, a few typos and things that just need fixing up. Then that gets done, and then it comes back to us to circulate to the
Okay.
reference bit. There will be more changes. I think Rebecca had some issues that our action plan wasn't consistently worded and a few things like that, which was something that we could discuss.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, there's no point sending typos around to everyone.
That's right. We just tried to simplify the process with changes we already agreed. So
But
that's where we're at.
But no, because the reason we're going to the reference group and then out to the community is that we will get changes.
Of course, yeah. But we wanted to make sure before we went there that everything we previously asked to be changed was done as we requested. That's where we're at. Okay. So James, have those minor corrections gone back to them?
I send them to you to send it to.
So they have gone back, yeah, because I've sent them to you.
I'll double check the date.
Yeah. So we should do the next one that comes back from Bopper will be sent to all of us, 18 months later, and then to come back to, yeah, I know. It's true, boys like. Okay, so moving on from that, the CJ Miller Fund, we just put in there that, of course, there seems to be a number of things that it could be used for, that we've asked for applications in writing, and if they could limit them to about $3,000 per application, we might be able to spread them far and wide in the community and actually use that fund. So, because if, you know, I've heard a number of people would like different projects, and hopefully we can share it around for some of the development beautification projects that would be useful around town. Local roading budgets, still need to meet and discuss and go around and see prioritize the areas where we think it's most important. The school zone, traffic signs went up, which are great. There's still on some ongoing debate about other issues, but no doubt receiving more information about code lines and that sort of stuff. We'll see how that goes. Free water reforms, put a statement in there which has been consistent with where we've sat on that. And again, we'll lobby the councillors.
Can we take a Keith's comment and see, are we going to go back to council in the minutes and say that we would like them to project this fund?
How do we feel on that, Neil? Yeah.
About the council joining the other councils.
Objection to the 3 waters.
How in depth was it discussed at council?
Was discussed. That's probably.
So it's not about what's happening with council, what's our views.
Was it discussed by council or discussed by the meeting?
It was discussed by councillors.
General.
And there was, okay, I don't know, there was a different thing.
So there wasn't any unanimous sort of agreement or disagreement.
What was agreed was that we write ourselves and disagree with them, and which is the case, as opposed to joining others at that point in time.
No, but I think they're in fact what as a community
Yes,
board.
this is
So the council's got their decision as a community board, this is spotlight.
Yeah.
Do we wish to write to the mayor saying that we think supporting the other councils to protect our free water assets would be in the best interest of the voters?
Say, okay, we just have a vote.
Oh, I'd say by 2024 it won't be happening anyway.
And you want to take that risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my view is that I'm quite happy to support it. So I think, it's, the ratepayers disagree with it. I haven't heard of anyone who just agrees with the 3 project. So I'm waiting for that one. But yeah, so I'm quite happy if we would like to draft a letter. Okay, we'll be on that.
Or just in the minutes, just say.
Or in the minutes, yeah.
Just put,
I mean, it is in my chair's report,
Yeah.
but yeah,
but it's now evolved on to now this
Yeah.
council meeting, and I only heard about it.
So we can forward the suggestion as the community board that we would like councillors, all the other councillors that object to the 3 wards. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's unanimous from us. So because you guys got,
Well, I understand.
you got the same.
But can I just clarify that you were talking about saying you're exempt or joining the new school?
We're saying that we should join in with the other councils to approve and if necessary join the lawsuit. If the number's $10,000 to $20,000, that's not a significant.
Yeah. So as John stated, then that's recorded. So
Council will listen to it.
no, they don't.
No.
No, absolutely not.
That's the view of our
But it's our view of our community.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry,
It's important you express your views. It
Yeah.
really is important.
Yes, for now.
can you just state really clearly what it is that you would like recorded in the minutes? It's just been a little bit hard to capture the conversation.
So I'll reread what we originally stated in the chair's report. So the Katikati Community Board strongly reiterates its objection to the government's free waters reform proposal. And as this is not in the best interest of the community or ratepayers, and also there's been no local or rural support for the proposal presented to the board to date. We'd also like to forward a unanimous request to council to join the proposed action by other councils to take legal action against the government in regards to the Three Waters reform proposal as not being truly representative of the ratepayers in our area. And we hope that we hope the council takes this on into account and acts accordingly. Happy with that?
That's good.
Not unanimous because we've got to stay out there.
Oh, sorry.
Well-
Unanimous to make the community board members excluding the 2 council members.
Okay.
Fine, sorry.
4-0.
4-0 with majority.
So that's okay, that's clear. We've talked about the avocado and mural capital, and as a community board, we formally recognise that Katikati has 2 official identities. It's both the avocado capital of New Zealand and New Zealand Mural Town, and we support any group that wants to promote this, work together in any way and form that we can all help each other out to lift the profile of the town. So that's where we sit with that. There's been an update on the Park Road walkway, the public toilets, North Park, trying to superficially damaged. And the last item there, which has been mentioned a few times, is the emergence of bird guns close to town, which, you know, I'm aware of the policy and everything council has mentioned and that sort of thing. The complaints we are getting from residents is that it's no different than having fireworks in town and scaring the dogs. So, and it's also very inconvenient for residents. So maybe that's something like look at it if it becomes a further issue. And James has got his hand raised. So, go, James.
Yeah, I just mentioned that I raised this issue at a recent workshop. That was run to elicit preliminary ideas for things to be considered in the district plan review. And Rachel wrote them down. So,
So be something, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
be something to address the
something's in my mind.
Yeah. It usually happens in rural areas and it's so bad, but it is, you know, I can understand townspeople being rather upset by it. And the last one on there is the affordable housing projects in Katikati. It's council have said in there that agreed to sell the land to Kaingora for their housing program. It'll be very interesting to see how they go about it. And what sort of level of affordable housing or social housing goes down there, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a well integrated one into the community, because the communities, especially the residents around there, are very interested and concerned, would like to be informed. So hopefully there'll be a public statement coming out about that. So yeah, we'll want to see what develops there. And that is basically the chairperson's report. Any questions in regards to it, or any items there that anyone
No,
want to
I
address?
think we should also recognise the work of Katikati and Open Air after the Festival of Lights. Lights. I think it's tremendous. I mean, a month-long festival, hell of a lot of work. So thanks very much, Jackie. Thanks to Open Air Lights. Yeah, it really was. It was a big effort, and the wind certainly got the better of you some nights.
Very good. No, thanks, Jackie. It's good, especially in difficult times to try and get something like that up and running. It's not easy, I can understand that. So if I can call for a mover, Thank you, Alan. Seconder of Chief Support, Neil. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll move to the board council's report, and this month it is Councillor Daniel.
Yeah, quite a big one this month, but it does go back to
It's up
end of
to
August.
August.
Yes. So I'm not going to read it out. I'll take it as read. The only thing I would raise is that the last paragraph about free was reform. Things obviously moved on a bit since I wrote this, and I'm rather glad I put at the time of writing in the last sentence. One other thing that you should be aware of, it was announced this afternoon, is that Mayor Gary Webb was appointed to the Free Waters Working Group to help hopefully improve the reform and proposal the government is pushing on. So also reiterate that it's an unpaid position. It's not conflicted on this one. So that's where we stand.
I second his report. If there's no question.
Oh, no.
There are questions.
I've got a couple of questions.
John, you go first.
Okay. This process of considering the general wards and Murray wards, can you elaborate what that is?
Yeah, sure. So when the government made the decision to take away the right to hold referenda about decisions on marriage wards, there was a misalignment on how marriage wards and general wards are treated and the processes for the decision making on that. So we submitted to the government on how we wanted that alignment to work, and our submission was basically they should be aligned, so that the way you go about general rules should be the same as how you organise marriage. I might explain it off the top of my head.
So that hadn't been done in the past.
Well,
No, there's a referendum process.
Yeah.
in the past,
So that the referendum process can take that.
the government mandated that 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So, but that left some inconsistencies in how the two processes worked, and the feeling was, government speakers as well, that they should allow.
Alignment's got many connotations. So does that mean equal co-governance, or does
No,
it mean,
no.
what does alignment
The
mean?
process is to be the same in the form of representation, that when a ward would follow the same rules and structures as do our current wards now. In other words, the Maori ward is likely to be one ward at this stage. I think maybe potentially could be 2. It doesn't matter, it could be 10. But couldn't be But the situation is basically that as long as the process is the same as what the general wards are, how they're administered, formulated.
So wards are established on population base.
Yeah.
So population.
So
base-
things like how often you need to consider whether you had
These
a
are
marriage
just
ward.
wards.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be fair if you had to consider the structure of general wards every 6 years and the marriage wards every 3 years, or something like that. It just alignment with that.
I think that one. Yep. Got another one? Will you?
It was just a road, it's road sitting on just what was going on there.
Okay.
I believe that's coming to a policy meeting next month.
CCTV, which we can go that later on, or we're just.
It's not in your agenda. You can't
Okay,
speak
so
about
the CCTV statement we've got here in your council's report, James.
Yep.
And all the applications have obviously been processed. And we have previously been talking about having to make a decision on it. How many do we have sitting in our area to actually talk about the Katikati CCTV applications? One at Tippy Road, is there any others, or is that the only one?
I don't know. It's down.
it. Actually, there are a few, or were a few.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate.
But is there a time that we Is it then against the limit of workshop, Alan, or is that?
Well, it depends on how long you want to take to do it, that was all.
Okay.
I would suggest that it's probably where you're sitting at present is to go to the workshop,
Okay.
if that's the
That's what I
case.
just want to
If
check.
you can't
Yeah.
make a decision from probably, I'm not sure, where do we sit with
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
with this, because it's not a public forum item, is this able to be resolved in some form, a resolution come forward?
Because we've been asked to support them, but I'd like to see what the actual applications are. So I'd like to have there's not one here, but no. real-
Sorry, can you just make sure that you speak like super clear towards the camera, because it's really, really hard to follow the conversation at times. Can you also just repeat what it is that you're seeking an answer to, Alan?
Okay, I would just, is it in order for the board to come up with, to resolve something from the councillor's report today as an action?
Yes, you can resolve, if it's mentioned in the councillor's report, you can make a resolution against it.
But we're not looking to make a resolution, we're just asking a question that the applications for CCTVs in the Katikati area, which there are 2 or 3 or 4, can we be forwarded the information so we can actually look at them and see which ones we may be prepared to help fund or support?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I can definitely record that in the minutes as a request from the board, and it'll go to the
So if we
working
can
party.
take it to work, that's all. So yeah, just give the information.
Because the decision
Where
is,
is it? Do you just clarify, where are we within the council process regarding CCTV? So that's, is it that they meant, I mean, my understanding was that the applications were approved by us and they went to council for approval and that was it. But, so,
It's got a bit complicated because council gave delegated authority to the panel to decide on how the 50,000 was going to be spent.
Okay.
Through various means. The panel seemed to have decided that some contributions from the community boards would be accepted, but it's now not clear because the community boards haven't necessarily decided whether they'll be supporting these or not. So
That's correct, yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. So all we're asking for is basically the ones in our area, can we see the application so we can make a decision whether we can financially support them?
you haven't been asked to do that other than one.
Just one, okay, so it's just one, okay, but would also be helpful to us to know where the other ones are as well.
Okay, well, what was you just dropped well?
Well, the panel had the decision-making power.
Oh, okay.
We have had the power to make those decisions.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And there was one board, okay, maybe there has been an error. It was in the original submission where one board offered to pay half if need be. And that was looked upon favourably as it then spread. The money
I suppose the question will rise in the not too distant future is that the ones that maybe were looked at for Katikati area, 3 or 4, obviously, are you on this as well, James?
No.
So Alan's on them, but if there were 3 or 4 put forward and they've chosen the Tetney Road one, what happens in the instant where, for example, I'm just making one up, that the corner of Park Road one is far more important to the community here than the road traffic one at Tetney Road? Doesn't make it that we don't have any say in that, Alan? Because usually CCTVs always come back to the community board to decide where we want. Because in the last trimester, we decided where a couple were could or could not go. So
See, I would even disagree with that. It never even was chosen by the Beach Community Board. We chose to have some and couldn't get
we
them.
couldn't get them. We were given the option. Yeah, we were given the option to have
So it
one.
wasn't a standing thing across council by anyone.
Because we had one put it down with that, the one up there, they consulted us quite deeply on doing it. So that's why I'm just saying that process is happening, because it seems crazy that
Did the community board submit it?
No, but if our community submits for it, then surely it should come back to us to, help with that decision making.
No, can we just clarify? So the council will get back to us, we should know about them, but the council's now accountable for the decision of that. What rests with us now is, are we going to support the one on Techley Road.
That's all you're asking from us, okay.
That's all I've asked.
Okay, and can
Will you do
we
that?
pass that resolution tonight, or do we have to wait? I mean, just, that's a question for,
It's, and we've been told we can make that resolution if you wish.
so the resolution tonight then is, well, do we or do we not support the police?
Well, I would like to see the application. I'm not
I've
saying-
emailed it to you.
Yeah, emailed it. It was emailed today.
It
It's
doesn't,
very brief.
it doesn't really enlighten you, crazy.
It doesn't, it's very brief.
For security purposes, so therefore it's the police and traffic, I mean, this is the thing. So, yeah, I know, so they want to trace traffic.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily it's gonna solve the problem. I mean, is in your view, Alan, will it go ahead anyway without our support?
Not necessarily,
Not necessarily.
because there were 77 applications
Yeah.
put in. And the resolution of the council was 2 cameras. And that's
Two
been,
cameras, okay. Yeah.
been extended.
Per community board.
But that's,
No,
not-
per,
that-
for all the community boards.
that's 2 cameras for the whole Western Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, from community boards.
From community board, so it's 10.
Oh,
Two
so
for
2
two
per
per-
community board.
No. So it's
No, it wasn't in
50,000,
community boards.
50,000, and however many cameras you get out of that. And then community boards could, yeah.
Go for it. So how many are we talking? One. One particular road. That's what you're talking about for us.
And you're saying that was gonna cost us $5,000.
That was, the application said it would be a cost of 10. And so obviously, if it was 50%, it would be $5,000. And it's quite clear that it says 10.
That's just.
So it would
That's a
be
one-off.
asking for maybe up to
That's
5,000.
the one-off payment.
All the cameras fit
Which-
under
Which
the
account does it come
actual.
out of?
Penella, do you have any idea which account that would come out of? Or Rachel?
Ashley's.
Ashley's account?
Everything else does, may as well.
Come on,
I mean,
mate, these people always have stash
Would
funds.
would it not come out of our,
It would come out of your security account.
You also must have a reserve account.
yeah, reserve?
Reserve account, I would think.
No, surely it would be, if it's a capital item, it must come out of a reserve account.
To me, it would be reserve account.
Because we wouldn't be paying OPEX costs. So the
So it's only the one-off cost. It's not the ongoing operational costs.
yeah,
And that's to happen concurrently with the redevelopment of the intersection? Is it?
No, I think it's to go in as soon as they can get it done.
I mean, they might
It may
take a pragmatic approach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
one of the services sorted out before you start thinking out again.
Absolutely.
No, the style cameras totally.
Community board's feeling it, Nick?
Doesn't
What's your
require-
feeling on it? Or views on it?
See, I really step aside. from
Yeah.
that.
I'd support it.
I'd love to.
I'd support it because it's a security thing for the town. And the thing is, if something sits on a state highway, people automatically might assume it's for other purposes, so it might slow down. So it could have a double.
Yeah. Was it to monitor the state highway as well as?
No, it's really to cover Tetley. You've got to remember it's an ANPR camera that they've requested, automatic number plate recognition. For that to operate, the cars don't, its top end is 80 Ks, all right? It's better that they're about 60 Ks. So that means it's Tetley Road is the key function of it, is monitoring vehicles in and out. And of course, as it says in the application, it's for people that are dodging any other exit cameras that are used by council and police at present.
So this is an area that is
The dead spot.
dead spot sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a back door entry and exit.
That makes sense.
It doesn't necessarily mean it just.
But there are
They have them all over the place, yeah.
but there are other areas that come.
If it can come out of a reserve fund, I can't see a problem. Places that one. Just bring me look at that, so,
To me, it would be reserve account.
Yeah. Okay, well, can we make a resolution that, because they will be funded from the reserve account, that Katikati Community Board is quite happy to the $5,000 towards it. Is that quite clear? Can I say that again?
Yeah, so I've got that the Katikati Community Board approve up to $5,000 from the Katikati Reserve account for the installation of a CCTV camera at, and where was the location?
Tetley Road, State
State
Highway
Highway
2. Tetley Road, State Highway 2. Yep.
Cool.
You look concerned, Ashley. Is that okay?
Well, it's the state highway corridor goes about 20 metres back from the intersection, so I'm just not 100% sure about the legality, but I would assume that we would get support from Waka Kotahi on that item.
Okay.
But if it's only going for
Tetley Road.
Tetley Road, then it can be 20 metres back anyway, Ashley.
Then it would be right within our local network. Yep, that's correct.
Yep. Okay. Well, everyone all in favour? Okay, I'll move that. All in favour? Second it, sorry. Neil, and all in favour, say
Aye.
aye. Okay. If no one else has got any more questions for James, we can quickly move on. So I'll move that the council's report is received. Seconded by James. All those in favour say aye. Second your own report. That's great. And we're up to Middlebrook Drive. Okay, so has everyone read this report?
Yes, and I must declare my interest.
Conflict of interest, yep. So interested parties are just quickly Western Bay Museum, Katikati Membership, Katikati Community Van, Katikati Community Control.
Do we need to exclude the Renee on that?
The Renee is not it's mentioned here, but it's no. I mean, we've notified we're no longer interested, so that can be removed. The lease is conditional upon the interested parties receiving funding for the development over the next 2 years. So we have a choice to recommend to council to be leased to them or not to be leased. So all those in favour of having the land leased to the group, raise their hands or say aye. Aye. Don't we have to carry it first? Oh, move the resolution, sorry. Move that resolution is accepted by under four, yep, and seconded by John. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Right, now, the votes for the resolution. Raise your hand. Aye. Anyone against the resolution? No. So carried unanimously with Alan standing aside.
Hold on, boys.
Happy with that, Penelli? You're good? Thumbs up? Cool. Okay, request to endorse Katikati Mural Town as the avocado capital of New Zealand. So that is the Katikati Mural Town and avocado capital of New Zealand, I suppose it will read. Not just the avocado capital.
Yeah.
Okay, so is everyone happy with that? Resolution, okay, so we'll move that that resolution is accepted. Yep. Seconded, John. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anyone not approve it? No. All those in favour? All right. That's carried unanimously as well. Thank you. The annual operating budget. Has everyone read that?
You have seen this brochure, by the way. The credit, Jackie.
Very good, yeah.
Did you? Well done, very well.
For everyone done.
Well done.
Okay, Jack. So,
I'm happy to move it. I have a query though, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just because I've not seen it in the White Beach ones before. What is the security budget? Just as a,
we have to pay ongoing costs. Some of our CCTV cameras on, as far as I'm aware.
There's some other things as well, like,
Yeah,
and
monitoring.
my understanding was that the CCTV stuff would get taken out of that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going to be all of it.
No.
I can't remember what the other things that would
I
cover.
was just, I thought, what's this?
Yeah.
Never come by that one. Thank you.
Any other questions in regards to those operating costs for the coming year? Everyone? We've previously discussed them. So no, if everyone's happy with that, have I moved this or not yet? I move that we accept the operating costs there. Second, thanks. Neil, All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those all for it, raise their hands, aye, no objections. Carried unanimously. All good, Penelope? Infrastructure services report. Everyone read this, page 56. Is there anyone speaking to this tonight, or shall I just go through it?
Personally happy to take it as read.
Any questions on the infrastructure services report? James?
Yeah, I was just gonna, we finally have some money in our voting account. So it might be nice at some point, Ashley, to discuss where that might get spent. Obviously, that's at the discretion of the chair, but
Yeah, because Marshall Road was meant to be getting into the footpath. That was,
it's probably a workshop item anyway to discuss that.
We might have a walking workshop, Ashley.
Yeah, I'm all over that idea. That'd be great. If we could maybe get together, workshop level, get a couple of ideas, and make a bit of a day of it or an afternoon of it. I'm pretty sure we could make short work of that fund.
You mean the fund to make short work of us?
It's got 100 metres, isn't
I
it?
was going to say, yeah.
Is there any other questions in regards to the services? Oh, sorry, the infrastructure services
No.
report.
Actually, I asked for a flood map because there was that new flood level was raised by 1.25 meters. And that has some significant implications, not just for some of the residences, but also for the roading. And also, and that also goes back into even the community plan. Could you provide us with the revised and updated flood zone?
Sorry, John, I didn't quite catch your question.
Can you provide us with an updated flood plan in line with the 1.25 meter adjustment?
No, sorry, I don't know much about that at all, but I can find out. I can ask around. I would have thought that was a regional issue, but I can I ask the questions and report back to the board.
But those maps are public.
I know that. Well, let's go back. Where do we find it? That's
They're
all.
on council website.
Have a look at what the regional council says.
No, well,
Well, it's a bit of a joint project.
So it's
They're
a
on
joint project,
they're
yeah.
on our website.
I mean, it was interesting to see how it affects the bridge, for example, and the bypass.
Okay.
I think it's 1.25 meters is going to put that bridge, but in a severe storm, it's going to put the bridge under pressure.
Okay.
Yep, sorry, John, I don't know a whole lot about it. I'll ask around.
Okay, thanks.
So if no one else has got any more questions, we can move that the infrastructure services report is passed. Seconded. Alan? Oh,
Yeah,
you got it.
okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Which one's that?
Actually, where are we with the magnolia trees? The favourite magnolia trees.
As per our final email, I emailed the Chanders and mentioned all the comments that they were. They now had. They were now allowed to remove that tree on provision that they put in a new one. They haven't really got back to me. They were very appreciative to hear it. We will help. Council will help locate a new tree. The conditions will be that it'll have root guard, it'll be a specific species, so on and so forth. But yes, they've been granted permission to remove it.
And the one across the road, directly across the road as well, not?
No, the difference being that wasn't straddling their boundary like the Chanders tree is.
All good, or that's pretty resolved.
Yep, thank you.
Just my next comment would be we do look at all of these requests. It's just based on case by case. No two cases are the same, and we do unfortunately just have to make a judgment call. Magnolia trees in those sort of residential areas, it probably isn't the best choice. They're pretty historic, of course. And it's a shame to see the Chanders tree be removed, but equally I appreciate that it's straddling their property and causing issues with their private property.
Okay, so on to the financial report. Any questions? Anyone? No? Okay, well, I move that the financial advisor's report dated 10th of November, titled the financial report Katikati, September 2003, be received. Thank you, Secretary James. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Next meeting is, draft schedule of meetings is for November 21st, 2021, December 2021, January 2022, February 2022 be received. No issues with that meeting schedule?
I'll second it.
Seconded, thank you, Alan. All those in favour?
Aye.
If there's no further business, wants to raise anything? No, I'll declare the meeting